Hello. Welcome to 3reate. I'm the host, Andrew, and we're doing a little bit of a weird solo cast today. So, uh, per usual, unscripted. And if you're used to joining us, you're probably used to listening to Nathan and I on our weekly catch up conversations where we talk about mostly technology and science, sometimes art, or our interviews that we do a couple times or more a month, where I talk to somebody in art, science, or technology who's doing something interesting or cool. So again, it's a weird solo cast today. I don't do these. I think this is the first one ever, actually. But since 3.8 is 2 years old in a couple hours, I thought it was pretty fitting to kind of celebrate. So we'll take a look at a little bit of what we've done, kind of where we're at, and how we're going to move forward in the future. So bear with me here. I'm also doing all the technicals myself today. There's no producer. It's a kind of a cold day in the in the Pacific Northwest, so we're sitting in here live, I guess. 3.8 came out of an idea I had a couple of years ago around there's a lot of problems in our society, there's a lot of problems in our world, and I wanted to come up with a way to try to address those that was universal, or at least potentially universal. So the solve all problem, if you would. That's hard. But one thing that I've centered on, one thing that I've been exposed to a lot in through education, through knowing people, in work, one thread that I've found is that creativity is pervasive across all industries, all disciplines, all people. And it's really what makes humans special, and it's really what humans do the best. And we get really creative, we work in groups, and we do awesome stuff. And my hypothesis was that creativity is been branded as this idea that you have to be born with it, that you can't be creative, that, I'm not good at X, so I can't do it. The reality is creativity is a process as much as it is a skill. And like everything else, you might be born very creative. You probably know who you are. You probably know people like that. But if you don't feel creative or you don't think you're creative, I would challenge you in 2026 to really try something new. Creativity is a process. And some people are really good running, right? They don't have to train very much. And some people have to really train hard. And the point there is that you can do anything you really set your mind to. You can get better at anything you want. And creativity is really not some mystical, magical talent that you're born with. It's a process and a way of mostly curiosity and exploring that. So the idea behind 3.8 was to talk to people who do stuff that are creative, which sounds kind of like an easy thing, I guess. But a lot of podcasts I hear talking about creativity, they're talking about process all the time, or they're talking about all these kind of unfathomable things with celebrities or really famous people. And so you're getting the same thread across different variations of what the norm has been. And you're really not talking to the people who are really pushing society forward. The people who are doing the coolest, most creative stuff typically don't get recognized for that until it's succeeded. And it also gets lost in failure. And failure is a huge part of creativity. If you're not failing at something, you're not trying different things, you're not trying hard enough. If you're continually failing at something, you might need to reevaluate and step back and try to figure out how do you be successful. Again, it's all part of the process. We've talked quite a bit about this at length. But what I've seen in my experience working, looking at things in society, talking to friends and people throughout, is the creative cycle has kind of been busted for a lot of people, and they don't realize that they're capable of doing this, and they're not familiar with or the media that we consume, either social media or traditional media or new media, whatever you want to call it, doesn't do a good job exposing people who are doing stuff. And that was the goal of the podcast. So we've been doing that for about 2 years, and we really focus on doers, and it's people who are doing things. Our society is increasingly crowded, and if you listen to other podcasts, you're listening to people who, what I would call talkers. There's talkers and doers. The doers are the people who actually do the work, who are putting in the effort, who are trying things. The talkers are the folks who like to talk about other people's doing. Or sometimes they like to talk about the things they have done, but they're not actively doing other things, or they're not actively trying to progress in whatever field or knowledge area that they're a part of. So the doers are the folks that I'm interested in. The doers are the folks who keep the society moving. And as we say on the website, the doers are the people who typically don't stop to talk about what they're doing. A lot of the doers will do stuff and move on to something else, and it isn't until later on that they've really been exposed as doing it. So in the last 2 years, it's been remarkable. We've gone from, probably no listeners, right, with our first episode, and now we're getting, 4-digit monthly listens on the audio only podcast. About, I think, 4 or 5 months ago, we started doing video podcasts on YouTube. So Nathan and I record weekly on YouTube. And then the last couple interviews I've done, I've recorded those live as well. The last one just went up with Katie, and we talked about plastics and how we can engineer plastic for longer term life cycles to be less environmentally hazardous, but also better for you as a consumer. It's a little hard for folks sometimes who do stuff then to talk about what they do. It's even harder sometimes for them to talk about it on camera. So I don't really see that changing going forward. I hope folks are comfortable with that. So we might be doing audio only episodes as well for the interviews. However, I'm encouraging folks and giving folks the opportunity to do video if they'd like. So stay tuned for those. We've only been doing YouTube now for 4-ish months, and we've gotten to 5-digit watches, I guess. I don't know what we call viewers. It's kind of hard. So the 3reate podcast across the board has, 5 digits of people listening, watching, consuming, per month. That's awesome. I never thought this was really go anywhere, to be honest. I thought it would be a few of my friends who I bullied into listening to it, and maybe some random people discovering it here and there. So I really appreciate everybody tuning in. We've been getting suggestions through the live stream and the comments. And I guess a note for folks who are tuning in live right now, I'm not on the chat. I apologize. It's too much to do with just myself. But we'll try to respond to anything later. If you're listening to this recorded, hello again. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. And we're really looking forward to going into 2026. A small city's worth of people view us or listen to us, consume the content every week or every month. It's growing, pretty steadily. I find the algorithm has a hard time with the content because we do a lot of tech and science stuff, Nathan and I, and then I'll do interviews with people who are doing art in small communities, or people who hire people who do tech, to try to, again, get the spectrum of people who actually are doing stuff and contributing and trying to push things forward, but also to expose those threads where the creative process doesn't really change in the industry you're doing. It just expresses differently for what you're trying to do. I've jotted some notes. I don't usually do scripts. As folks probably know, we get a lot of tangents. I'm trying to stay on off tangents and do more pointed stuff. I did jot some notes. So in 2026, got a lot of folks queued up for interviews. So I'm really excited to continue to do those. If you're interested, go to the website. Pretty easy to apply to be on the podcast. I want to keep that as low friction as possible. Just to note, if you do apply, that doesn't mean we're going to be able to interview you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of folks who are interested. There's also just my time limits, but we try to get everyone we can. Hoping to get to 3 interviews a month this year, or 4. It would be great to do 1 a week. It's quite a bit of work, but we're going to try to go from 2 a month-ish to 3 a month-ish, along with our weekly conversations that Nathan and I record. For those, we've talked a little bit about it, but we're going to start doing more of those live on YouTube. And so you'll be able to tune in probably on Fridays, afternoon Pacific time. We'll try to get a time schedule down for folks. We're both pretty busy, so we try to stay consistent, but it's also hard. So we might be moving it around. Today, again, is a good example of a live stream just kind of randomly. So best way to find out about those, I guess, is to go to YouTube and click the subscribe bell so you get notifications. But otherwise, we'll be pushing everything to the podcast audio stream. You can listen, of course, on Apple or Spotify or wherever you podcast, or the recorded episodes on YouTube. But we're really excited to do more live, mostly because 3reate has always been intended to not be broadcast only, to be participatory, and to have folks in the audience be able to participate. And I would love to be doing some of the interviews live, to get live feedback from folks. But Nathan and I are definitely going to start doing our conversations weekly, where we want audience participation. We want you to come on and ask questions or make comments or make points that maybe we're missing out. So that's a little something to look forward in 2026. I'm pretty excited for that. This will not be the last podcast of 2025. Again, it's the birthday, 2 years and I think 3 hours old. 3reate. We're barely walking, but we have Nathan and I recorded on Friday our predictions for 2026. So we did some predictions across art, science, and technology. Pretty short podcast, but we'll put it out probably Monday, so tomorrow. So if you're watching live, check out tomorrow. If you're listening, what is that, Monday the 29th of December. If you're listening and past that, go check out the episode either on YouTube or in your podcast feed. It should hopefully just be available. And other than that, we're going to take the rest of the year off. So have a couple days of vacation, and we'll be hitting it back again on, I believe it's the first day after New Year's Day. So the January 2nd, I believe, we're coming to you. So looking forward to seeing you in 2026. Happy end of 2025. Happy start of 2026. And we'll see you next time. And as always, it is never too late to start to do something. Go try it. Worst case of trying something new is that you find out something that didn't work, so you don't repeat it again. Best case is it works the way you thought it did, and you can build and iterate on it.